Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have my multi-looks one palette video. I think I'm gonna stop it here. I mean, I could go on and on and on about doing looks with this palette. I gotta admit, when I first saw this palette, I was like, really? That's what she did? Because I'm obsessed with her highlighter. I mean, can you? No. Anyway, so like I said, when I first saw this, if it wasn't for my Ulta points, I probably would have skipped out on this. And so I'm kind of thankful I had my Ulta points, because the more I did this video and went to creating looks, the more I could think of looks to do. I could probably do 10 looks with this palette. I've even done looks off camera, you know, just hurrying to get ready to go do errands or whatever, and that didn't get added into this video. So yeah, if that sounds interesting to you and you want to see this look along with 3 others, then just keep on watching. And keep in mind, I do have a special needs child. You'll hear him in the background clapping his hands and making noise. He's jealous of anyone or anything that takes my time from him. That's why a lot of these videos are voiceovers these days, because I do them early in the morning when he's sleeping. But most of the time, by the time I get to the point where I'm speaking, he's awake. So for the intro and the exit, you might hear him a little, but other than that, it's going to be the voiceovers. So without further ado, let's get into this tutorial. Okay, so starting out this first look, and all the looks as a matter of fact, I dipped into Wasted and put that under the brow bone and through the crease. I thought this was perfect for that. Then taking another fluffy brush into that OG shade, I worked that through my crease, making sure it was blended perfectly and seamlessly, just a little higher than the crease area itself. Then I took a bit of a smaller blending brush into the shade New Yorker, and I started deepening up that outer V and brushing it through the crease. Using my NYX glitter primer as always for my shimmers. Then for the first portion of this eye look, I used a flat brush and dipped into that Anastasia shade. I love this shade. It comes off almost like a duochrome from gold to pink. It is so amazing. And yeah, it's definitely a special shade in this palette, I think. Then I just flipped that brush over and dipped into Georgina, and I put that on the outer part of this eye look just to add some dimension. And yes, look at that duochrome. Then I took a fluffier brush into that chocolatey brown 1988 shade to further deepen up that outer V and a little bit up into the crease. I thought that really brought something to the look. Then using that second brush that we used, I just made sure all those edges were seamlessly blended in. And with my Anastasia liner, I did my wing situation. This is a good wings liner product, so I can't say that I hate it. I actually quite like it. Bam! I love how that tape makes such sharp lines. Now I'm going to do the rest of my face. And we'll work on that lower lash line, taking an angled brush into that BK shade, that black shade in the palette, connecting that with that winged liner, and just bringing that in about a quarter of the way on this eye look, maybe a little more than a quarter, maybe about a third. Then using a pencil brush and mixing OG and New Yorker, I buffed out that black and along the lower lash line. I got a little carried away. Always make sure you dip lightly and build up slowly. It makes it much easier to do the eye look. Then dipping in to some more of that Anastasia shade. I buffed that right really close to that lower lash line because, yeah, I just wanted that shade all over the place. And I thought it made this look good. And the fallout dusts away quite easily, so that makes me happy. Then taking my little BH pencil type brush into that barb shade. Obviously, I love this shade. You guys see me talk about it a lot. Popping that on that inner corner, just to add some light to that inner corner, and working that down the bottom half of that lower lash line, just a little ways in. Then I took Rose Lints from Melt and put that in my waterline. I thought that pinky kind of shade would look really good. Hourglass mascara and So Hollywood lashes. And I went ahead and recorded me applying these because I hardly ever record myself applying the lashes. And yeah, I thought some people might want to see it. So that's how I apply my falsies. And I'm enjoying these Anastasia lashes. A coat of Hourglass on those bottom lashes. This is a good mascara. It's a shame I have so much mascara now. I can't justify buying anymore. And bam. That is the final look. I have Trouble from Anastasia on my lips. Everything else will be in the description box. And let's move on to look number 2, shall we? Taking a big fluffy brush again into Wasted and buffing that all through my crease all the way up to my brow bone, just as we did before. Then a big fluffy brush into a New Yorker. I'm going to buff that all through my crease. Really blend it out, just like we did in look number 1. Then I'm going to dip into just a little bit more and put it on the inner and outer corner because I was like, I think I'm going to do a spotlight eye on this day. Then dipping into that chocolatey brown 1988 shade, I went ahead and deepened up the inner and outer corner. Just trying to make sure to keep this focused on that inner and outer corner and not bring it in the center so that we leave that open for the spotlight effect. Taking the second brush that I used, I went ahead and fully buffed that out, making it look as seamless as possible, as usual. NYX glitter primer to do my fake cut crease situation. I actually used too much this day. I had enough on my brush to do both eyes. Alright, taking a flat Luxie brush, I started out by dipping into Georgina and putting that on either side of this open space. Then I flipped that brush over and dipped into some of that gold dragon shade and popped that right in the center of this eye look. And you'll see I dip back into Georgina just to keep flipping that brush around
and get those shades meshed together seamlessly. Taking that fluffy brush again, I always continue to try to make sure I am buffed and blended. Now with my finger, I'm going to pick up a little bit of that Liddy shade and pop that right on top of where I have that shimmer. I wanted to see if these worked like the Tarte ones. Then with an angled brush into that BK shade, I love Anastasia's Black Shadows. I did my liner situation with this while I started it out with this. And then I took a little bit of the fluffy brush and just kind of buffed that out to make it add some more dimension to this eye look. And I like the effect it gave. It was quite pleasing. Then using that first brush we used in that wasted shade, I did one more buff Anastasia liner for my lashes to adhere to and make sure because I can't put it under my waterline, my upper waterline because of my contacts, so that's the way I do it. Doing the rest of my face again. And Androgyny from Jeffree Star on my lips this day. And then I took an angled brush into that BK shade and did that same situation. Then I took a short shader brush into that 1988 dark brown shade to buff out that black and add a little more smokiness to that bottom lash line. I switched off that brush and dipped into some OG just to make sure everything was buffed out really nicely. Now I took a flat, fluffy brush and buffed a little more with that wasted. It wasn't quite as buffed as I wanted it to be, so this worked out though. And like I said, that fallout buffs away nicely. Then with my little e.l.f. pencil brush, I dipped into Dragon and I put this right in the center. I did end up spraying this because I wasn't getting the intensity I wanted for that lower lash, the center of that lower lash line. That seemed to work out. A little bit more buffing just to make sure it didn't look harsh. Now I took a little pencil brush into the Amrezy highlighter. Love this highlighter. And I use this on the inner corner and I believe the brow bone. Yeah, I did use it for the brow bone. Love this highlighter. Then it took me a minute to pick which one of my Nakia Joy lashes I wanted to put with this. But I ended up using those bottom ones because, yes, they're all beautiful. And that's that. And then I was trying to decide if I wanted a bright under eye or a dark under eye. And I figured with the bold lashes, I'd just go with a darker waterline. That was Perversion from Urban Decay. And this is the final look for look number 2. And my gray hairs were driving me nuts. So yeah, this is after I dyed my hair and put my Briogeo deep conditioning mask in. And with a big fluffy brush, we're going in with wasted once again. I figured why waste a clean face. Now I'm dipping into Semsa on a fluffy brush. And like I said before, make sure you fluff that and build it up a little at a time because Anastasia shades are pigmented and they can get carried away very quickly. Then with a bit of a smaller fluffy brush, I dipped into Yugo. I love this plummy dark plum purpley kind of shade. I think it's perfect for deepening up your outer V or your crease. As you can see, it's a really, really pretty shade. Then I dipped into a little bit of that BK shade just because I wanted a little bit more popping for the blue Leo shade I'm fixing to go in with. And I thought with a black background it would make that blue pop really, really nicely. I'm going in with that brush we used in that dark Hugo shade just to try to make sure everything was buffed out. Then I actually wanted to see how my NYX glitter primer went on top of that BK shade, and it actually went on top really, really nicely. So I was going to use a brush, but I ended up with my finger because I just kind of wanted to tap this, making most of the pigment in the center and kind of fluffing it out. And yeah, look at how nice that looks. And then I just buff those edges to make it seamless. Then I took my finger in that barb shade and I tapped it just in the center. And oh my gosh, the way that barb shade looked on top of that Leo shade was absolutely stunning. I mean, I really liked the way that when I got done, it was so beautiful. Of course, Anastasia liner, you knew that. I'm sure you saw that coming. I'll list the products in the description box, but I try to use almost all Anastasia. Using my angled Sigma brush into that BK shade, I just brought that about halfway this time. And then I dipped into just a little bit of that Semsa shade to buff that black out and add that hint of pink on the bottom to match the top. I love doing that effect. Then I was trying to decide on my inner corner and I went with Anastasia. I really, really was happy with that choice. I was glad I made that choice. Like I said, I absolutely love the shift in this color. I think it's stunning. Much prettier than I anticipated. And then I picked up a little bit of that barb on a flat brush and I just popped that right under the arch of my brow bone. And I went in with my Hourglass mascara once again. And I believe, yeah, I used those same lashes from that last look from Nikia Joy because I just like these lashes and they were right by me. But they're so pretty. Her naked set is quite enjoyable to wear. Then I have my Dominique Cosmetics lips with my Wet n Wild liner this day. And I went in with Woodstock from Urban Decay in my waterline. It's like a candy pink. And then on my lower lash line, I put my e.l.f. this day because I just like this for my lower lashes. Not so much for the top, but I do like it for the lower. And I have another video because I got another one of those little quad palettes and the rest of the full face of e.l.f. coming up, so stay tuned. Then it was time to wash that mask out of my hair, and bam, bye-bye grays. Gotta love the power of the hair dye. Anyway, what do you think of this eye look? This is the finished look, and yes. All right, let's move on to the last look we are going to do for this video, shall we? All right, you guessed it, wasted underneath the brow bone. I wanted this, I used a little bit of a denser brush so that this came out a little sparklier because it has light flecks of glitter in it. Then I dipped into New Yorker and started buffing that all through my crease, just laying down the transition for this just typical smoky eye with a splash of glitter, I guess you could say. And then I went in with OG to deepen it up just slightly. You can see my lips moving. I always get a phone call when I'm trying to film. It never fails, but I don't mind, especially since I do mostly voiceovers now. Anyway, buffing that out with that fluffy brush, and then I dipped into the Dominique Cosmetics um, packer brush into BK, and I put that all over the lid. I love Anastasia Black, so I think I already said that, but I can't say it enough. Then I started out thinking I was going to use this Sigma brush, but I just getting a smaller, a little bit denser of a brush in that Yugo shade. And this gave such a stunning effect to this smoky eye. This was probably one of the best choices I made for this eye look because that eggplant purple just, I don't know, it did something for the eye look. And like always, I go back with those fluffy brushes and make sure everything looks buffed out and seamless. And yeah, I look like I got punched in the eye now, but I'm going to add that Liddy shade to, not Liddy, I'm sorry, the Gemini shade to this eye look. And I really just wanted a light wash of this, but it was a little more pigmented than I thought. And my lips today are Lunar Beauty Witch Bitch and Perversion from Urban Decay, my waterline, of course, for a smoky eye. Then I just took a flat brush and used that BK shade to add that smoke and then that purple to match the top, because like I said, the effect of this I thought was stunning. I still love it. I still have this eye look off because I couldn't bring myself to wash it off. Then a bit of a fluffier brush into New Yorker just to make sure everything was buffed out really, really seamless. Using that Amrezy highlighter once again to highlight that brow bone and inner corner. I love this highlighter. I wish they'd make it permanent, but I guess we can all just wish. Maybe they will someday. And today I'm using my Tarte Lights Camera Lashes. We all know it's my favorite. I absolutely love this. It's the best mascara I've ever used. But the Hourglass is a very, very close second, just so you know. This one I like better on the lower lash line, though, if I have to be honest. And then my Lily Lashes in the style Miami. I thought this big dramatic smoky eye needed a big dramatic lash. Plus, when I wear glitters on my eye, I do like to wear a fluffier lash to catch any of that glitter and hopefully keep it out of my eyeballs. Yes, and bam, final look, finished look. Which one was your favorite, guys? I can't decide, I'm sorry. But this one I'm really feeling myself in today.
All right, and that wrapped up our multi-looks one palette video. Tell me which look was your favorite. I think it's so hard to decide which ones are my favorite because, you know, of just the way it is. Yeah. Anyway, I do want to say I did a look with this palette, like look one, and I took this blue and I did like my liner situation with it. And because of my hooded eyes, by the end of the day, you could see like a blue rainbow on my eyes. So that's a kind of a warning for you. And that is why I did not put that look in this video, because I felt like it would be deceiving, because if you do the look, then that could happen to you if you have slightly hooded eyes or heavily hooded eyes the way that I do. Other than that, well, let's move on to the 2 glitters. I'm on the fence about the glitters. I mean, I applied this about maybe 2 hours ago. And I just put a fine dab on. I tried to do it just the way I do my tarte glitter shades, but and then I tried it with my NYX glitter primer as well. Both times I do end up, you could see, you can't really see on camera where I catch them in the lashes, which is understandable, and you do get some on your face. Keep in mind, most glitters, pressed glitters, are not eye safe, so I don't recommend you put them on your eyes, of course, but it's up to you in the end. I can say this shade right here is my absolute favorite, followed by this shade, and this shade. I could have done without the Barbie pink, but I mean, I could still do a lot of cute little Valentine looks and things like that. So, all in all, I am so happy I got this palette. I love the looks I have created with it. Yeah, if it wasn't for that blue transferring, I'd have to say that maybe that was my favorite look. But, yeah, I can say if you like stuff like this and you don't mind like the pressed glitters or these two not being a whole lot different, especially on the eye, they look very, very similar to me on the eye, then you might really enjoy this. I think that the metallics and the shimmers in this palette work beautifully. I think this barb shade goes with just about any Valentine-y look that you want to do. So really and truly, this is a lot like, you could use this for a Valentine palette, in my opinion. Anyway, this is getting so long and rambly. I didn't want to ramble a bunch. I like the palette. I could continue doing looks with it, but I do want to eventually get this video up for you guys, so this is where I stopped. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did and you watched it all the way to this point, thank you so much for watching my video. I really appreciate you. I hope you'll consider, if you haven't already, subscribing to my channel and hitting that like button. And yeah, that's gonna do it for another Teresa Tries Tutorials. I hope you're having a wonderful night or day wherever you are, and we will see you on the next Teresa Tries Tutorials. Bye, guys. Mwah.